So a couple years ago, I guess it's been more like 4 years ago now, we had a goose that got hit on the road out behind our house and had a broken wing and was unable to fly. And that goose then spent the winter here. It was that year we had a brutal winter, and we had 14 inches of snow with layers of ice in the middle and all that kind of stuff. And he spent the winter here sleeping at night on that pond, out in the middle of the pond on the ice. And there were a couple of times when the temperature was 10 below zero, and we'd look out and he'd be sleeping out there on that pond on the ice. And so we felt sorry for him, and we went to Tractor Supply, bought some goose food, and we would take it out and put it where he would walk off the pond the next day. But I can tell you a lot of stories about that. But here's the thing. The next year, all the rest of the geese came back. They flew back from down south, and some way along the way he found his mate, and they raised 6 little chicks that year, little goslings I guess they're called. And then the next winter, none of those 6 flew away. They all stayed and spent the winter here. A couple years later, they're all having little ones. Now, here we are a few years later. In the wintertime, we have 100 and 120 geese spending the winter out here just because that one spent the winter and I guess liked Indiana weather. Then I read about them, and it said that in one generation, they can lose their instinct to fly south. In one generation. And it got me to thinking about that verse in Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. It says that you should train your children to walk on the right path, and if you do, even when they're older, they will come back to that. This goose trained her children, his children, to stay in Indiana in the brutal weather. God's word won't return to us void. My friends, let's make every effort to teach our children well. Thank you.